When my honey turned to me and said, "Okay," as the credits rolled, I knew we had magic. Let's go. Outlander Season 4, Episode 7, Down the Rabbit Hole. Hey guys, it's Marsha, and welcome to Really Seriously For Real. This episode was chock full of tantalizing tidbits, rich with juicy, emotionally moving narrative. We saw quiet, reflective moments that allowed us to observe, peeks into the past that left you breathless, trying to take in every word, and moments that begged for laughter. And you know, I can already tell you that this is going to be a longer review than normal, so hit pause, grab a drink and some tasty snacks, and let's get into this. The title card opens on Brianna making a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, so that way she has something on her journey. Pause. All right, let's be honest. How many of you were cringing at the way Brianna cut the sandwich down the middle? Come on, this is an age-old debate. Let's take a poll. Who cuts the sandwiches down the middle or diagonal? Or was it just me thinking about this? Okay, forget it. Let's continue. Brianna is trekking through the cold Scottish Highlands. It's snowing. So you know, the mother in me was saying, pull your hood up. It's too cold to look cute. And where's your bat suit? And can we please take a moment to bask in the glory of Scotland? Even though everything was snow covered, I just felt at home in Outlander episode 7. That is until Brianna took a tumble and starts hobbling her way through the countryside. And her ankle, it was pretty bad. By the time she stops to rest, we know a few of the things that she has on her are like a map, a knife, money, matches. We knew she had a sandwich, but geez, Brianna, your mama took penicillin and a syringe. You think maybe you could have packed some Tylenol. I know, she was in a rush. In the present day, Roger and Fiona drive up to Craignadoon. He's decked out in era-appropriate travel gear. I mean, are these guys ripping off the college drama center? It seems very easy to get these clothes. He can hear the buzzing at the stones, but Fiona cannot. She has a great line where she tells Roger that hopefully he can travel, otherwise he would have shaved his beard for nothing. I'm trying to figure out if I like him clean shaven, but I'm on the fence. Anywho, he goes to the stones more than 2 weeks after Brianna. So Brianna is still walking through the wilderness, and honestly, I feel like she should have found a stick to lean on, but she's hobbling on this bad ankle and finally sees smoke coming from a chimney in the distance. Now the poor thing, she really makes an effort, but she just can't go any further and passes out. Well, that was a short episode. Nah, I'm kidding, of course, because the camera transitions to adult Brianna to young Brianna, who had fallen asleep in a car, and then guess who steps into frame? Last week I said Murtaugh and Lord John Grey were favorites of mine. Well, guess who comes before them? That is affirmative, Frank. Blame it on the show in how they showcased his character, or blame it on Tobias Menzies for playing him so well. But I will always be a fan. My face lit up when they showed him being daddy to Brianna, scooping her sleeping self up, and the fact that they continued to use perfectly timed flashbacks throughout the episode was something special. When adult Brianna wakes up, she's in bed. So at this point, I'm getting all giddy because I'm convinced that she's going to be in Lollybrock and that she'll meet Ian. Even though I knew the actress who plays Jenny likely wouldn't be returning to the show, I was really hoping that they'd pull a haha, got you, and manage to have Jenny there somehow, like green screen Jenny. But nope, no Jenny. Nah. Instead, the camera reveals the last person that I'd want Brianna to be with. Leary. Oh, of all the people, it just had to be her. But it absolutely made for some twisty storytelling. I will give them that. And it was the sweet, kind Leary. Oh, that's the one to look out for. She found Brianna on the road and saved her, nursed her back to health. It was the less twisty version of Back to the Future when Marty woke up in his grandparents' home. Brianna meets Leary's youngest, Joni, who is still adorable as ever, and everything is great. They're all getting along. Brianna's fixing stuff around the house. Yes, this girl has skills. She's grown close to Joni. It's all good. One night, Ian stops by Leary's home to drop off Jamie's alimony, and Leary just goes in on him because it's not enough. Ian, let me tell you something. What you need to do is you need to write Jamie and tell him that while you're off playing colonizer in the Americas, I'm stuck being screamed down every month from your ex. Not cool, Jamie. Stay strong, Ian. Brianna is in her bedroom while Leary's voice fills the room, and it makes Bree begin to think of her parents fighting when she was younger. Now, if you listen carefully, it was the night of Claire's graduation when the other woman showed up. Young Brianna pulls the pillow over her head. Adult Brianna decides to walk into the room where Ian and Leary were. I was like, yes, Ian, save her from the lion's den. But no, Leary sends her back to her room with a smile. But not before Ian calls Bree a Sassenach when he heard her speak. Loved it. So you realize that Brianna has been there for a bit to allow for her ankle to heal. Now, you see the parallel in Leary's life with Jamie and Frank's life with Claire. You sympathize with Leary. That is, until Brianna mentions her mother's relatives from Lollybrock. Oh no, don't go there. Don't even say it. The freight train without the brakes. Something's bad about to happen. Someone please interrupt them quick. Who's your mom? Leary asks. Maybe I know her. Oh, her name's Claire Fraser. Run. Poor Leary was just triggered. Her facial expression was genius. You could see any joy she had left just drain from her. Who else was keeping an eye on the knife in Leary's hand? But she played it cool for a bit, allowing her to put some things into perspective, like how Claire and Frank didn't have the best relationship either. Leary acknowledges Frank has done well raising another man's child. Now, in the middle of much of this, we get additional flashbacks. One where Brianna walks in on a drunk Frank in his office with a copy of the obituary showing Claire and Jamie's death. That means back then, Frank knew at some point that Claire would leave him, and likely Brianna to go back to Jamie. Frank knew there was nothing that he could do any longer except to just try to start fresh, but with Brianna as well. Brianna sees the papers, but doesn't really read them. I mean, I guess not now. Obviously, she must have revisited them later, and that's what sent her on her journey. She asked Frank to explain to her what was wrong. You know, Tobias is Frank. He just has a way to look at someone almost breathless and contemplate 1,000 things before he speaks. He has such depth. I don't know. He's just so good. But he couldn't bring himself to tell Brianna what was really going on. It's complicated, he says. You think? But this leaves her frustrated. The next day, though, she comes back with scones. It drives home just how close the relationship was. This was where Frank began to plant the seed of a new life abroad, which Brianna, she doesn't think too much of. It was the scene where Frank spoke to Brianna in his car, and then based on the clothes that he was wearing, you knew it was after the big fight with Claire and just before he died. He told Brianna that she would move with him abroad and that he and Claire would divorce. I mean, come on, that's a lot for a young adult to process. And again, Tobias, he has a way with quiet movements. Frank was just done with the past, done with hoping for an unattainable future. He knew everyone had to move on, but he wanted to move knowing he would have the daughter that he raised with him. It definitely moved me knowing that when Brianna got out of the car without saying she loved her dad, that would be the last that she saw him. Now, cut back to Brianna in the 1700s, after Leary tries to convince Bree that her real dad, Jamie, didn't want her, and that's why he sent Claire away. Yeah, you know, they gossip over there at Lollybrock. And then Brianna starts talking about the fire that's gonna happen and that she can save her parents. No, Brianna. Okay, first of all, forget that you're standing in front of Salem Witch Trial herself. No, you're in the 1700s. You don't just go around saying you know the future. Why? Surprisingly though, Leary is more concerned that this fire will prevent her from getting any alimony. That's why, Brianna, you've been breaking bread and confiding in the woman that tried to have your mother burned at the stake. Leary, she just started going in. That Sassenach whore stole my husband. You were sent here to spy on me. Like a snowball rolling down the hill that gets bigger and faster and deadlier. And then Joni comes in with that innocent look of betrayal. I mean, what was the casting call for that character? Absolutely adorable with eyes that could make you cry. It's working. Brianna's like, I see I'm no longer welcome. You think? I tried to warn you, Bri. And anyway, the argument spills into Bri's bedroom while she was trying to shove everything into a bag to get out of there. But then she does the singly dumbest thing ever. She turns to Leary and then tells her that Jamie never loved her and turned around to keep packing. Okay, first of all, you say something like that to someone that you know tried to have your mama killed just to get her out of the way. You don't turn your back on them. You keep them in your full view. Now, thankfully, Leary doesn't try anything crazy, but she does lock her in her room and threaten to have her arrested for witchcraft. In all fairness, Brianna did tell the lady that she needs to save her parents from a fire that hasn't happened yet. I mean, that sounds ridiculous even if you were telling someone from 2018. Moving on. So I guess Roger made it through the countryside with ease because he's off trying to book passage on a ship. And guess who has a ship and just happens to be there? Yeah, Stephen Bonnet. We haven't seen this guy since the first episode when he was putting an ugly stamp on the otherwise blissful trip. And here was Roger begging for passage aboard his ship of all places. Step away from the crazy, Roger. Even Bonnet was like, nope, find another way. Instead, Roger says he'll work as a deckhand. So Bonnet flips a coin, and the coin said Roger was coming aboard. Roger will come to regret that. So they set sail, and everything is going seemingly well. Roger's playing happy hostess with the passengers. A woman with a little girl and another woman with a colicky baby. And then here comes Bonnet, who takes the baby from the mother. I thought he was going to do something awful. Although having the baby take liquor off your dirty fingers isn't my idea of great. But the baby quieted down and Bonnet handed her back without any issue. I thought, at least he's not so much of a monster that he would do something awful to a child. Sometime later, poor Roger is woke from his peaceful sleep to the sounds of screams. The little girl from earlier is accused of having smallpox, and Bonnet tells Roger to throw her overboard. Now, of course, Roger refuses, and Bonnet, despite tearful pleas from the girl's mother, despite reasoning from Roger, willfully and unapologetically pushes the child into the Black Ocean. And then her mother jumps in after her. That was literally awful. And then Bonnet sends the crew to check everyone and throw anyone overboard with signs of the pox. So Roger, what does he do? He hides the mother with the young baby. Roger, really? Did he really think that no one would notice? Or that the baby would never cry again? And sure, here comes Psycho Bonnet flipping a coin whether Roger lives or dies for this indiscretion. Now, he got lucky this time. But next time, when the cosmos is giving you an out, Roger, take it. Don't go with the crazy captain who flips a coin to make decisions. Okay, can we pause for a sec and talk about Stephen Bonnet? Well, Ed Spielers. I don't know. This is the second episode, and I'm not sure if I'm buying him as the bad guy. Like, he has the charisma for sure, but not enough of the grit. What do you think? I keep going back and forth in my head with this. Like, do I really buy him as the ruthless captain? I'm not sure. Anyway, back in time. Oh, wait a minute. No. What am I talking about? They're both back in time. Anyway, back to Brianna, still stuck in her room, though she manages to get a small window open just when she hears keys in the door. But then here comes adorable little Joni setting Brianna free and riding her off to Lollybrock. But listen, I'm sorry. I hated the behind the head shot of them riding up to the estate. It looked like there were literally a couple of mannequins in the carriage. Like they forgot to film an exterior shot while the actors were on set, so they had to use mannequins as a stand-in. It just looked weird. I wanted that beautiful sweeping shot of the estate. Come on, Brianna, she just spent all this time at Leary's. She needed the red carpet rolled out. But anyway, here comes Ian, very exciting, and he's introduced to Jamie's daughter. But I mean, come on, everyone's very trusting in this time. Like, no one ever heard of a child that Jamie and Claire had together. But here she was, and all you can go by are her looks. But here's a trunk of clothes, some cash, and welcome to the family. Yeah, it was definitely a lightning fast introduction. And Jamie's actual blood relation, wasn't even there. Still sad. Anyway, Ian dropped her off at the dock, where she is now trailing behind Roger in their parallel voyages. She says her goodbyes to her uncle and goes in to purchase her ticket. As soon as she walks in, here comes some guy. And the first thing he asks is if she's traveling alone. You know, there's a joke in another movie where the answer would have been, nope, I'm with my two friends, Smith and Wesson. Anyway, she did well by saying that her uncle was with her. But the guy continues as he's desperate to ensure that his daughter Lizzie would be safe and begged Brianna to take Lizzie into her employment, which she does. And they walk towards the waiting ship. Lizzie's father calls to her and wishes her well. And Brianna turns to see her own father, Frank, smiling at her, giving her the nod of approval, and she smiles back. When Frank passed away that night, he said he loved her, and Brianna didn't say a word. Something she would always live with. And to wonder if she had just gone with him that night, that maybe he might be alive. At his grave, she told him that she would soldier on, just like he said. And now, standing at the dock about to embark on the next leg of her journey, she is. And with his blessing. You know, I was bawling my eyes out when he was standing there. The whole episode, I was like, nope, no, Outlander, you're not gonna get me. And then boom. Last scene, Tobias just standing there like, go on, cry. I know, I got you. Awful. Guys, I really enjoyed this episode, like a lot. It was so well done, and it gave us like behind the scenes look at what certain characters went through during the separation years. Claire and Jamie mourned for each other, but Frank wanted to recapture what he had with Claire before she went through the stones and couldn't. Mirroring Leary in a marriage of convenience for all, but devoid of reciprocated love. And then the kids, Brianna and Joni, caught in the middle, just hoping for a little bit of happiness for everyone involved, but instead left to keep their custodial parent mentally functional. Wowzers! Question of the day. I'll make this easy, or maybe not actually. What was your favorite part of the episode? Comment down below. If you like going down the rabbit hole with me, hit the thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe. Click the bell so you're always notified when I upload a video. Thanks for watching. Until next time.